What's up, my YouTube friends? So I know I've not put much up lately, and I will have a separate video to tell you guys about some big changes. But in the meantime, I thought I'd show you what I was into this morning, which is definitely not what I had planned on doing. It's my old backhoe here. I was doing a little maintenance around the house, and as you can see, blowout. So, pull the tire off, and then I got looking at some maintenance that I've been putting off for a long time. As you can see, my kingpins and bushings are worn out. I've got the brand new ones laying there. I've had them for about a year, but it seems like every time I'm home, I got to fill a pothole in the driveway, which is about 700 feet long. Not to mention everything towards the back of the property, which is a full half-mile long. So it's just barely enough time to jump on, grade the driveway, take care of whatever project it is I'm working on. So I've just put off tearing this thing down, but I decided to go ahead and tackle this little chore this morning. And it's been worn pretty badly for a while. As you can see, it's actually worn a groove down into the top right there. So I've got to weld that back up and grind it off smooth. And I'm taking my set bolt out right here. That punches out the backside, and then if all goes well, that kingpin will just punch straight through the bottom. But with the way this is kind of boogered up against it, I may end up having to do some heating to get it loose. Not sure yet. Looks like my grease zerks are both there and intact. So we'll see what happens. Princess has a plan here, and it's working. So as you can see, we've made some progress. We've got that big pin punched way down to the bottom. We had to heat it a lot, and we got it punched down as far as it go. Now we set that on top of it, and we're beating on it some more, using that as a punch. And since we only have two people here, we're not going to video that, but that way we're not banging on y'all's ears anyway. We've added this little contraption here to hold the spindle out nice and straight, because it just kind of falls down once the pin has come out of this top bushing area. But we're making progress. See where I took the torch and tapered the top so that it wouldn't mushroom as we were beating on it and then not come through the hole. So now the next challenge is getting what's left of the old bushings out, if there is any, and then filling in the walled out egg shape somehow. Progress report. Okay, so as you can see, it's got quite a groove worn into it right there, where the bearings let it cock sideways, and this was rubbing up against that. Now technically it's supposed to have a bushing in here, but because this is worn off and that's worn in, no bushing is going to fit nicely. The proper way to fix it is to replace both the spindle and the knuckle. But I'm a little bit redneck and a little bit broke, so we are going to make do. I just cut that out, and I am going to weld all this up, get it ground off smooth, because this whole piece right here it's on a taper. I'm going to weld that on so it'll have two steel surfaces that are flat, and it'll be getting grease to it, so it will last for quite some time. And then eventually down the road I can replace the entire knuckle if I need to. This will get me by. It's just a farm machine, doesn't get run 8 to 12 hours a day every day on some construction site, so this will do the job. Nice clean weld, looks like stacked quarters. Not done yet. I got a lot more work to do, but as you can see, I'm making progress. All right, guys, as you can see, nice flat surface across here. I've welded it up, ground it off flat several times. Still got to get this little booger around the edge here where it was getting hammered on smoothed off, because there's a rubber seal that actually seals on that. And then I still have to get that piece welded up in there, because the thickness of this only comes up to about here, and there's supposed to be that bushing in there, but like I said, this surface is too boogered up to worry about that. Okay, as you can see, I've got this all cleaned up right here where that's a nice tight joint. Up underneath this, also a nice tight joint, but you can see this big gap right here. That's all the wear that is in the top of that knuckle. So I'm going to fill that with a weld, and then we'll be ready to insert the bushings and the new spindle. Top bushing in place, and you can see that it's wallered out a bit. I'm going to use JB Weld to fill in around down through those gaps. Being inside an enclosed space like that, I think it'll do the job. Hoping it will anyway. And I'm going to do the same thing down here. As you can see, if you remember, there was that huge egg-shaped wallowed out hole. Well, I have got that all welded in to where it's a pretty good fit. Obviously not perfect because I don't have the machining capabilities to make it a perfect fit. But I want to go ahead and get this tapped down in there. Whoops, well, look there. Falls right through. Anyway, so I'm going to fill that as well. The back side back there is nice and clean. It's a good fit on the back side. As you can see, it's a nice fit on the back. It's on the front edge here where there's a little bit of a gap. So, gonna fill that. Yeah, look at that back. Look how nice and clean that is. That's a good tight fit. It's just a bit of a gap here around the front. So, gonna fill both with JB Weld. Make sure the grease zerk hole is lined up properly. Swing this around in place and drop the pin down through it before the JB Weld dries. That way I can make sure that the bushings are properly lined up with that kingpin. Otherwise we'll have a problem. And then all it needs is a tire because of the blowout that got this whole project started this morning. I'll be ready to go back to work. Quick. I know I'm not getting paid for this. I should be, but I'm not. You want to make sure you have even amounts. Mix it thoroughly before working it down in through all those little gaps. I'm going to be careful not to get it inside our bushing. As you can see, it's pretty runny stuff, so it's going to run right down in those holes, I hope. And you can see it's already running downhill into those holes, so we should be good here. Using an old hacksaw blade, sawzall blade to apply it. Now what I'm hoping is that on this side here, that's where I want to get it all down in there really good. That's where the cavity is, and you see I just pushed that right on down in. So, get a second dose of it. Work that down in there. Yeah, that's running right on down into there just like I wanted. That's a good deal. There's no gaps around them. As soon as that JB Weld sets, I'll take the grinder and clean off all the excess, and we'll be ready to put this puppy together. You can see that is a completed project. The seals on top and bottom, grease oozing out of them. Bearings are a little rough. We're going to need replaced at some point. But that is no longer all wobbly and about ready to fall off. So let's go change the tire. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a tire changing machine anymore, so I have adapted the backhoe to be able to do the job. Watch this. down, or take it off now that I got it broke down. And then we're going to put that other tire over there on it, because that one blew out, which is what started this whole mess this morning.